So we all have our first video game. The one that's embedded in our minds as our first impression of video games ever. One that gave us a long-lasting memory, assuming your memory isn't that bad. Mine hopefully isn't, so that's why in this series I'm going to reveal to you the games I've played over the course of my life, the impacts they've had on me, and my impressions now. So in this initial episode of the series, I'm proud to reveal my first ever video game. It was Wolfenstein 3D. Not the title of the video, I know. I was literally a 2-year-old with little to no brain power. Just saw my dad's computer one time, touched the mouse and attempted to play it, shot some Nazis that my toddler brain assumed them saying Fruit Bubba for some reason, and my dad ripped me away from it. Because I probably shouldn't have been playing such a violent video game at such a young age. Regardless, that was probably one of my first experiences in video gaming when my memory was still forming. It's not the most amazing or celebratory memory, but that's life really. I still remember when me and my brother got dropped off at a babysitter's and they had a SNES with Donkey Kong Country 1, and we were able to play it. Again, that's not the same name of the video title, but bear with me. Obviously, I was pretty bad. What skill level were you expecting for a 2-year-old? And my brother would wrestle the controller out of my hands because of sibling rivalry. Eventually, exposure to this Nintendo console led us to begging and nagging our mother and parents for the game with the monkeys. Eventually, they caved and got us our very own first video game console with a starter game of Donkey Kong Country 2. And the Super Mario All-Stars collection included with it. Spoiler, that'll be the next video. The concept of sequels was beyond my tiny brain at the time, so I still thought Donkey Kong Country 2 was the same game at the time. But honestly, this was an amazing game to officially be ours and enjoy at the time. The controls were fluid, the graphics were really good for the time, and the music is still one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard. Heck, I still catch myself whistling some of the tunes to this day. It seriously had that much of an impact. I do remember I didn't get very far in it as a kid. The later levels were much too hard for a little kid like me. However, I do remember one specific part. If you didn't play the game at the title screen, it would do a preview. And in that preview, it would show this level where the monkeys would ride a roller coaster track at a carnival. It looked amazing. It had cool music, fireworks going off in the background, and it just blew my little kid brain. And seeing this as a kid made me go, I want that. I want to play that level. Let me remind you, this is a decade before the internet was mainstream and years before I was even in school. I didn't have any help. No cheat codes, no secrets, no friends telling me how to farm lives, just my stubborn own little kid grit. I couldn't even read Nintendo Power yet. Not that I had access to it or anything. I also remember being freaking terrified of the game over screen. Just something so dark and unhappy looking scared me as a kid. And honestly, probably gave me a big incentive not to fail. But after many grueling tries and deaths, I made my first major accomplishment as a gamer. I got to the carnival stages, and it was awesome. I got to enjoy the fireworks, the music, and do the tight, gripping roller coaster levels. They even had a roller coaster race, which was its own fun. And it was overall just an amazing reward for the 3 stages prior to that. Obviously, after I got to that, my memory got a little fuzzy. I remember eventually getting to the final boss, but not on my own accord. I think my brother resorted to using a Game Shark or a cheat device system at the time, which helped speed things up a bit. That's all the memories I can recall of that game. It was one that left a big mark on me as a kid. And it taught me a valuable life lesson. If you work hard enough, you can go to the carnival. But how do I feel about the game as an adult? Obviously, I got fond memories of it, and thanks to the, Nintendo Switch Online Super Nintendo Entertainment System Online, I am able to play it again. Yes, that's actually what it's called. The full title. Oof. Anyway, coming back to it, the game is definitely not as hard as it used to be for me as a kid. The first few levels are a breeze, and I almost had 30 lives before I even completed the first area. Obviously, the later levels definitely kick up the challenge, and I can actually save my game without a worry now, because let me remind you, when I first played this game, I could not read. Though I undeniably learned the word save's meaning before I even got to kindergarten. As if I didn't, I'd lose all my progress, and that would be very upsetting to happen to a little kid. Modern day games have ditched the life and continue system, and honestly, that's for the better. Especially since you are sent back to your last save at the Kong College, yes, that's what it's called, if you die. So that essentially means that if you beat a boss, go to the next area, and there's no Kong College for you to save at, this means if you go into a new area unprepared, and the next few levels are tough, and you game over to them before you reach a Kong College, you have to go all the way back to your last save at the Kong College. Which, frankly, is a bit harsh. The ability to save should be readily available and not boot you back so far. You can leave an area, but it requires either you beat the boss or take Funky Kong's Flights, which has the most jammin' tune ever. I remember I would find Funky Kong's Flights before a Kong College in one area, take one of his flights back to the starting area, then save at the first Kong College, which is quite a convoluted way to do it if you gotta save in a hurry. But honestly, it's still a great game. It has a bunch of collectibles and secrets to find, and I really do recommend it if you're into retro platformers. Heck, all of the Donkey Kong Country games are legendary to their own extent, and definitely a worthwhile piece of history to play. Also, Monkey.